The Legends of Chima is a very complex and deep show involving thousands of years of lore, from a giant 8-tribe war to the battle of fire tribes versus ancient ice tribes. Today I am going to dive deep, and I mean really in depth, into the entire lore of the Legends of Chima. My fellow Amongakins, President Mung here. On today's agenda, the many tribes of Chima and how their story unfolds. In case you are unfamiliar with this franchise, it is one of the many LEGO shows. Well, actually, there's not that many. Ninjago is the most popular and successful LEGO show, with tons and tons of seasons, along with hundreds of real-life LEGO sets to accompany it. That's what Chima is. They tried to capture lightning in a bottle twice, although with only a few years of LEGO sets and 3 seasons. Chima just didn't live up to Ninjago's hype. Alright, if you want to understand this story, you best pay attention. Chima is an astonishing place filled with amazing sophisticated animals. Chima is run by this thing called Chi. Chi is a very powerful natural resource that flows in the sacred waters of Chima from Mount Kavora. Basically, Chi is the raw power of nature condensed into an orb. The place it comes from, Mount Kavora, is a floating island that flows Chi water right into the Lion Temple. Centuries ago, before Mount Kavora was a floating island, there was no Chi, and there were no sophisticated animals, just regular animals that walked on all fours. One day the sky opened up and ripped Mount Kavora from the heart of Chima, and it blessed the land with Chi water. Upon drinking the Chi water, the regular animals became sophisticated and intelligent. The creation of the sophisticated animals led to the creation of the tribes: the lions, the crocodiles, the eagles, the wolves, the gorillas, the ravens, the rhinos, and the bears. I may or may not be listing football teams as well. These are the 8 main tribes of Chima. There were a few others, and I will get to those, but it's also important to mention that one of each of the 8 animals chose not to drink the Chi water and still remain regular animals. They would become known as the legend beasts. The story goes, the legend beasts will return one day when Chima needs them the most. All of this backstory is called the Great Story, a tale told around Chima, beginning with our protagonists, the Lion tribe. They live in the Lion Temple, right below Mount Kavora. The lions are seen as the leaders of Chima, and they are responsible for equally dispersing the Chi. Every tribe gets an equal amount of Chi every month, so there is no unjust power dynamic. Every month when they distribute the Chi, there is 1 golden Chi that is produced. However, being that there is only 1, they have a competition for it, and the winner gets to take it home. Okay, so now you hear all about this Chi, but what's the purpose of them using it all the time? When they get the Chi, they plug it into their chest armor. Once used, it gives an immense surge of power, enhancing their abilities and connects them back to their original primal animal state. A rule for all tribes is they aren't allowed to plug Chi until they hit the age of becoming, which essentially means they become adults. Now, let's dive into the Lion tribe. Our main character of the entire show is Laval, the Lion Prince who will one day rule the Lion tribe. He is always trying to do the right thing, but sometimes that leads him to almost destroying all of Chima. No, seriously, he actually almost destroys all of Chima. Not once, but twice. His father, King Lagravis, is the leader of the Lion tribe. There are lots of rules for Chima, Chi, and the Lion tribe, and Lagravis follows all of these rules and enforces them to a T. These are the 2 most important members of the Lion tribe, but there are 2 somewhat prominent warriors, Longtooth and Leonidas. The Lion tribe, just like all the other tribes, have lion-themed everything. Their temple, their vehicles, their weaponry. This is really not important to the story, but man does it make for some cool LEGO sets. This is Krager, our second main character and the best friend to Laval. His father is King Crominus, leader of the Crocodile tribe. Him and Lagravis used to be best friends, but once they took over the reins of their tribes, they became distant, and now have more of a diplomatic relationship. King Crominus' wife, Queen Crunket. What a sexy name. She's the queen. That's about it. There's also Cruller. She's the princess. She's evil. Straight up. She causes lots of mayhem and is the reason every single event happens in Season 1. The 2 main bodyguards of the Crocodile tribe are Crawley and Krug. Krug has a cool metal jaw. Not surprisingly, the Crocodile tribe's headquarters are in the Crocodile Swamp. The last tribe I'll mention for now is the Eagle tribe. The main character from this tribe is Eris. She's also one of Laval's best friends. The Eagles are also the strongest ally to the Lions. So let's start with our modern day story. Laval and Krager are playing around, being best friends at their favorite place, the Forever Rock. Laval and Krager move over to the forest where they play sword fight, the typical thing they do all the time. The point is, they're best friends. Krager has a daring idea. He wants to sneak into the Lion Temple and see the sacred pool of Chi. Once they get inside, Krager gets even more adventurous and wants to try Chi, which is forbidden as they are not of age. Laval tries to stop him, but Krager does it anyway. So much strength, so much energy. Cragger has officially lost his chi-ginity. Cragger can't really handle all of the energy and is then captured by the lions for breaking the rules. They call Crominus and Crunkit over. Crominus begins blaming Laval for giving him the idea. Both tribes demand apologies, but both sides refuse to give one. Cragger and Warriz now hang out, and they break in again for some chi. Cragger is caught once again and is chased down by Laval. Cragger shoots a croc flare which signals all of the crocodiles. Both the lions and crocodiles know a certain brown substance is about to hit the fan. Laval and Cragger ride on these things called speedors. They ride into this place called the Fangs, a very dangerous place. It's also home to the Gorge of Eternal Depth, and if that name doesn't describe it enough, I don't know what does. But once something goes in, it never comes out. Laval and Cragger talk it out, and Cragger realizes the error of his ways, but it's too late. The croc flare was already sent, and thus the lion army and the crocodile army arrive in the Fangs. Cragger attempts to talk them down, but it's no use. The tribes battle each other. King Crominus's and Queen Crunkit's vehicle is blasted, and they end up on the edge of the Gorge of Eternal Depth. Cragger stops the fighting, blames himself for everything that has happened. The king and queen are unable to escape. Lagravis tries to pull them out, but Cragger doesn't see it that way. He sees it as they are making the ground even more unstable. He cuts the rope, calls the lions liars, tries to save his parents himself. Crominus tells Cragger he's in charge now, and they fall down. We find out, though, that the gorge isn't so eternal, and Crominus and Crunkit land and are fine. But no one on the surface knows that. Crominus tried to warn Cragger that whatever he does, don't listen to his sister, but he wasn't able to say it in time. Now we have King Cragger. Cruller, Cragger's sister, says they will make the lions pay, but Cragger even admits it wasn't their fault. Cruller shows Cragger this amazing plant, and this plant is called the Persuader plant. Alright, any guesses as to what this does? Correct, it persuades whoever it's used on. And what does Cruller do? She persuades Cragger to attack the lions. The next day, or the next couple of days, not entirely sure, it's the day of the month where the lions give all the tribes their chi. So we talked about 3 of the 8 tribes. Let me go through the rest of them now. There's the wolves. They are like real wolves. Fierce, quick to act, meanie heads. The main character and leader of the tribe is Warriz. The next tribe is the gorilla tribe. The main character of this tribe is Gorzan. He, along with the other gorillas, are loving and very relaxed. They love nature and talk really slow. So they're hippies. The counterpart to the eagle tribe, the raven tribe. They steal everything and they sell it to other tribes or even back to the same tribe they stole it from. The main character and leader of this tribe is Razar. We have the Rhino tribe, they live in a rock quarry, and they're dumb. The main Rhino character is Rogon. And the final tribe, the Bear tribe. These poor characters aren't even worth mentioning at all. They never appear. They do, but they don't do anything. They are always sleeping. That's all they do. The main character and leader of this tribe is Bladvik, but he was sidelined the whole show. I guess this is also a good time to mention the few tribes that aren't one of the main 8. I'm using the term tribe lightly because in examples like Skinnet, he's a skunk, and no one is the biggest fan of him because, you know. But he is the only member of his tribe, so it's not much of a tribe. Same goes for Furtivo, he's a fox. There's also a bird named Plovar, he's a plovar, and he's not a typical minifig character. He serves as the dentist for the crocodile tribe, and surprisingly, he's actually an important character. Now that it's the Chi distribution day, it is also the competition day for the Golden Chi. One member from each tribe will compete. The competition is some sort of race or game involving speedors. They're like highly complex, speeders. Really, this is just really smart marketing for LEGO so they can sell a bajillion small speedor sets. The competition is decided by the Golden Chi itself. That might sound confusing, but the purpose of Golden Chi is not like regular Chi. Using Golden Chi, you can quite literally reshape the landscape. So the Golden Chi will shape whatever course they have to drive on. Long story short, the 8 tribes race for it, and Warriz gets absolutely humiliated by Laval. Warriz then wants to join Cragger in fighting the lions. The Crocs also get a hold of the ravens, and they offer to pay them for their help. And of course, they agree because they'll do anything for money. Wait. Anything? They begin preparing. It is Laval's Age of Becoming ceremony where he loses his chi-ginity the right way. But before he can, the Crocs, Wolves, and Ravens' massive invasion puts a halt to that. Lagravis calls upon the Eagles and Gorillas to assist. Laval and Cragger fight out by the Forever Rock. Laval refuses to, actually fight Cragger, so Cragger wins and throws Laval, who can't swim, into the river, and Cragger runs away. Seriously, trying to kill his best friend. Remember those legend beasts that will only come when Chima needs them the most? Well, Laval needs it the most, and the lion legend beast pulls him out of the water and returns with him to the lion temple. All of the tribes are amazed, and it stops the fighting. Here they are looking at what is the Chima equivalent to a unicorn. Laval plugs chi and basks in its power. All of the enemy tribes retreat. The lion legend beast also goes away. Fast forward a month. Not much has happened. Tensions are still high. It's time to give out the chi again. The rules are that every tribe must get their fair share. When the Crocs show up to get their share, despite being enemies, they still have to get it. Lagravis abides by the rules, but Laval has a big problem with it. After the distribution, Laval goes to steal the chi back from the Crocs. They willingly let Laval take their chi to paint him as the bad guy. They go all the way to the gorge and drop the chi down in it. Please, if there's one scene to remember, it's this one. This is the most important scene in the entire show. I am not exaggerating. After this stunt, Krager gets a hold of the Beaver tribe. Okay, this one tribe I neglected to mention so far. The Beavers aren't one of the main 8, but they are also an actual tribe with multiple members, unlike Skinnet. So they're kind of a weird tribe. The leader of the tribe is Bizarre, and all of the Beavers always repeat. It's kind of what they're known for. The Crocs have the Beavers build a dam to prevent the chi waters from going to the Lion Temple, and instead the Croc Swamp. A bit more time has passed. It's time again for the Golden Chi competition. There is a new tribe. Well, no. There's a new single-membered tribe. A peacock. Dom de la Vouche. He's Chima's celebrity, and is regarded as the best Speedor's racer. And he was basically in retirement, but came out of it for this race. Why? Oh, well, that's easy. Krager paid him. But Dom de la Vouche isn't the only new challenger. It's Shadowwind. He is the best Speedor's racer, but no one knows who he is, and he leaves without answering questions, or even speaking. Another month later. At this point, Krager keeps messing things up on accident, and he's not being harsh enough, so Kruller basically ditches him and goes to the wolves, but they don't really want to attack the lions. Kruller brings up this little handy piece of paper called the Pledge of the Pack. Okay, flashback time. The wolves were a very feral tribe and were complete savages, even against each other. King Crominus came along and helped to civilize them, and as a thank you, the wolves created the Pledge of the Pack, which promised to assist the king whenever he needed. Even though Crominus is gone, there is still a king. Kruller forces them to help her, but she makes a deal. Steal all of the lion's chi, and the pledge will be destroyed. They agree, so using Furtivo the fox for a distraction, they are able to steal all of the chi. Krager was unaware of this secret plan, so Laval and Krager fight together again against the chi-stealing wolves. But it doesn't stop them, and thus their deal is fulfilled. Kruller throws the pledge down into the gorge. You know what else is in the gorge? King Crominus. The wolves are now very power-hungry. They start stealing chi from all of the other tribes. Kruller is also completely out of persuasion plant, so Krager is acting on his own good-natured self, and rightfully throws Kruller out for betraying him. More fighting. Also around this time, we learn Eris and Rogan are kinda crushing on each other. After all of this, all 8 tribes are ready for a peace treaty at the Forever Rock. 8 main characters, 1 from each tribe. Laval, Krager, Eris, Gorzan, Wariz, Rogan, Razar, and Bladvik are ready to sign a peace treaty. Skinnet is also there to be a moderator. Right before they sign the treaty, Kruller throws this stuff into the fire and creates a fog of destiny. It puts all of the heroes in a sleep, besides Skinnet, and the main 8 are in a shared dream where they see their true destiny. Kruller messes everything up again. Krager sees his true identity as ruler of Chima, and now no more persuasion plant is needed to make Krager want to conquer. Krager is beating up everyone in the dream. He knocks Laval out of the dream, and every time Laval tries to wake them up, he gets put back to sleep. He decides to go to the Lion Temple and steal this month's golden chi, an offense punishable by permanent exile. Laval goes back to the Forever Rock and uses the golden chi to shape the ground to wake them all up. He does it, but now he's facing punishment for stealing the chi. Lagravis is willing to lower the punishment because of the context of saving his friends, but Laval wants the entire thing because of honor, I guess? The rules are the rules, and he wants to follow them very stringently. Lagravis gives Laval the punishment, exiled for life, never to return to Chima. Before he leaves, he and Lagravis talk about the last lion exiled, someone named Lavertus. Laval doesn't really remember it because he was a baby. Now with Laval gone, Krager sets a trap and captures Lagravis. In his cell, there is Kruller chained up next to him. Finally, thank you, Krager. Kruller explains why she is so evil. The rule in the crocodile tribe is the firstborn gets to rule. Well, Cruller was the firstborn, but as she was hatching out of her egg, she knocked Cragger's egg out of the nest. They thought the egg would never hatch and the baby inside of it died, but Cragger was miraculously born and Crominus and Crunkit cared much more about him because of that. And they didn't even realize Cruller was the firstborn. Cragger was given the nickname Miracle Baby. Laval is headed toward the Outlands, a very dangerous place on the outskirts of Chima. Skinnet and Plovar are following Laval, very much to his dismay. Plovar, just recently in the crocodile swamp, reveals that Legravis is captured. Of course, Laval has to go back and save him, but someone shows up first. Shadowwind, yet again. We still know nothing about him. He gives Laval the pledge of the pack. It's covered in gunk and slime from the Outlands. How is it possible that he has the pledge, being that it was thrown in the gorge? On the pledge, there is new writing from Crominus, and it says, "Make us proud, Miracle Baby." Laval invades the crocodile swamp. Cragger lowers his defenses as soon as Laval talks about his parents. He trades Legravis for hope, I guess, as Laval calls it, that his parents are still out there. It kinda seems like everyone is about to go back to liking each other. An alive black cloud begins circling Mount Kavora. None of them know what it is. Laval brings all of the tribes together, all of them, including the Crocs and the Wolves, and they attack the cloud. Once they have all 8 tribes at the Lion Temple, they unleash their ammo on it. They make it go away, but suddenly chi water stops flowing from Mount Kavora. Well, that can't be good. Cragger blames Laval for the drought because they all shot at it. They begin to rely on the legend beasts to show up because right now is definitely when Chima needs them the most. Cragger begins forming another coalition. He tries the wolves, but they really don't want to. Cragger just so happens to have that handy pledge again, so they have to. They get the ravens to help, and since the rhinos are so dumb, they manage to trick them to fight the lions, even though Rogan has a crush on Eris. Usually the rhinos are lion allies, but you know, it needs to be a 4v4. The crocodiles, wolves, ravens, and rhinos charge the lion temple. The lions call out for their allies. The eagles and gorillas show, but the bears are too busy sleeping. Laval and Cragger have an epic showdown, and Laval fakes his own death. This makes Cragger regret everything. Legravis takes what is left of the lions and allies and charges for the wolves, but they are easily defeated. Cragger realizes Laval faked his own death and goes out to stop Warriors from doing anything. Laval returns from the Outlands with the Croc Legend Beast and Queen Crunkit. Laval reveals Shadowwind helped him. The Queen reveals there are evil tribes out there and King Crominus is captured, along with all of the Legend Beasts. They all make peace and work together. They reveal that the Black Cloud is part of the evil tribes. Bam. Season 1, over. But our story has only just begun. Well, I mean, we're about halfway, but, you know, that's what they say. So remember that scene I told you to remember where Laval drops chi down the Gorge of Eternal Depth? Yeah, okay, good. And remember how the regular animals drank the chi water and became sophisticated? Yeah, okay, good. So when the chi was dropped in the deep dark cave, spiders, scorpions, and bats got a hold of that chi. Now there are sophisticated spider, scorpion, and bat tribes, all thanks to Laval. They aren't good guys, by the way, and Laval created them. These 3 tribes are collectively called Crawlers. Down in the gorge with the Crawlers were King Crominus and Queen Crunkit, and they had to fight them off, but they really couldn't. The Crawlers only wanted one thing: more chi. Crominus showed them the source of the chi, Mount Kavora, only so they could get to the surface and escape. The Crawlers planned to steal all of the chi and block up Mount Kavora. The Bat Tribe was that sentient black cloud. The Crawlers also captured all of the Legend Beasts, except for the Crocodile Legend Beast. 8 heroes from the 8 tribes journey to the Outlands to stop the Crawlers and rescue the Legend Beasts so they can save Chima. They only ride on their speed oars, except for Rogan, who takes his giant vehicle. They also find the home of an exiled lion, Lavertus. He is very weird and wacky and is clearly hiding something. So let's talk about these Crawlers. The coolest looking character in all of Chima, Scorm. He is the leader of the scorpions. And then the leader of the spiders is Spinlin. The leader of the bats is Braptor, but he really doesn't do much. Okay, look, these villains are cool and all, but Season 2 is only 6 episodes long, all about rescuing the Legend Beasts. So I'm gonna go a little faster. They rescued the Rhino and Gorilla Legend Beasts from the spiders. Surprise, Lavertus' secret is that he is Shadowwind. Wow! No one saw that coming. No, I didn't mean for that to be sarcasm. Literally, no one saw that coming. Lavertus has a room full of golden chi from winning the many Speed Oars competitions. He reveals that he had to start competing to keep himself alive because of the Outlands, paired with the Crawlers, are just too dangerous. So he used the golden chi to build his large fortress. They rescue the Raven Legend Beast using gold paint. Next, they get the Eagle and Bear Legend Beasts. Now they're in the Scorpion Cave, location of the lion legend beast, and they also just saved Crominus. Turns out Levertus hates Crominus. King Scorm and Spinlin argue over if God is a spider or a scorpion. Just to reiterate, Laval's hubris has caused all of this by dropping the chi down the gorge. The other warriors feel betrayed by Laval because he didn't tell them that this is all his fault, so they conveniently discuss their quandary while the crawlers charge their weapons. So Levertus reveals that he was banging Crunket, the sexiest scales around. Crominus also had a crush on her, and persuaded Levertus to stop seeing her. However, his love overpowered it. Then Crominus persuaded him to steal chi, knowing that he would be exiled. So Levertus did that, but he knew Crominus was behind it. But he went along with the exile anyway, and kept Crominus's evil secret to not create a giant war and drag his lovely princess Crunket into it. Laval is able to get his lion legend beast. It was surrounded by water, so Laval had to learn how to swim rather quickly. Plovar, who's here now, captures Spinlin in mud because she is so vain and tricks her into thinking it will help her with her beauty. The rest of the spiders go to help but get captured too. They mostly just crush the scorpions with rocks. The cave is falling. Levertus and Crominus are about to have a showdown, but not actually. Levertus reveals that Legravis is his brother, and he looks like he's about to sacrifice himself. And yeah, Levertus does sacrifice himself. So the cave completely caves in. But all of our heroes make it out, except Levertus. There's a little crack left and Scorm is able to talk to Laval through it. He's like, "Give me chi, please." And Laval's like, "Yeah, sure, all you had to do is ask. That's how we do it around here." And then Scorm gets blocked in. The 8 heroes return home. Crominus tells them all the story about his and Levertus' rivalry, and reveals that Levertus said that had he not had him exiled, Krager would have never been born, and we wouldn't have one of Chima's best warriors. Crominus begs for forgiveness, saying that he will do anything. Legravis says, "You are forgiven, no payment needed." The legend beasts then replenish Mount Kavora. They just kind of disappear into it, don't really know what happens. They each go into the mouth of the corresponding animal on the mountain, and then voila, fixed. So back in the cave, Scorm is pretty peed off. He's like, Laval was too nice to me. So he throws the chi orb down into a gorge, waking up some dudes frozen in ice. So let me get this straight. Inside the gorge the chi was thrown into, creating creatures, there's a deeper gorge within the gorge, and the created creature from the chi just woke up some old creatures. And he did it using chi from Laval. I'm gonna blame Laval again. Now, Season 3. Some time has passed. Eris keeps having a dream where she has fire wings. A saber-toothed tiger, frozen in ice, Sir Fangar, wakes up in a cave and gets out of the ice. He accidentally plugs a chi. The leftover scorpions find a bunch of chi, and then they find Scorm, and he tells them to dump it all. So pretty soon, tons of chi comes falling down to Sir Fangar. Sir Fangar awakens the rest of his army of hunters, frozen in ice. They have to be chi plugged, otherwise they fall back into slumber. But they can also take chi like any other character, but they eat it. These guys are like rotted corpses of prehistoric animals. Yucky. Whenever they travel, the snow and ice follows them. They find this old hatch thing, this isn't really explained, and it raises up all of their old vehicles. They completely freeze over the gorge, including King Scorm and the other scorpions. The hunters make it to the surface, and Skinnet witnesses it. The new frozen dudes are called Hunters, and 3 different tribes make up the Hunters: the saber-toothed tigers, the mammoths, and the vultures. Sir Fangar is the leader of the saber-toothed tigers, and in general, the leader of the Hunters. He is a complex villain and will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. And his goal is to freeze over all of Chima, and get his retribution for being frozen in ice. Some other prominent saber-toothed tigers are Strainor, Stealthor, and Psychor. Mala is the leader of the mammoths, and the other 2 prominent ones are her sons. Matrot is one of her sons, and he is very smart, but his mother never notices him and always gives his brother credit for his ideas. Spoiler, his brother is ginormous and incredibly dumb. What's his name, you ask? Mungus. Why is it? The character that has a very similar name to mine is the dumbest character in all of Chima. And finally, the vultures. Vardy is the leader, and his second in command is Voom Voom. The hunters are very quickly invading Chima. The hunters take over the Croc Swamp. None of the Crocs or anyone in Chima even know what ice is. All of Chima goes to attack them, but quickly learn their weapons are no match for the hunters. Eris also keeps having fire-related dreams, believing they hold the answer to stop them. And with all of these dreams, Eris begins searching, and eventually, Laval, Krager, and Eris make it to the Phoenix Temple, home of the Phoenix tribe that are many thousands of years old. Alright, who's ready for a really long history flashback? This takes place before the Great Story. Centuries ago, Mount Kavora used to be like any regular mountain. It was the tallest peak in Chima. The Phoenix tribe built their city on it. Below their mountain lived the unsophisticated creatures. They wanted to bless the dummies and teach them learning and innovation. But then some of them got a little too smart, especially Fangar. He had achieved so much that he saw the only thing left was complete domination. Now called Sir Fangar began attacking Chima, and he left behind a wasteland. The Phoenixes protected who they could. The only way the Phoenixes could stop the hunters was with the Great Illumination, the essence of all creation in a single item, called a fire wing harness. You need 9 of them, and they have to fly into the heart of Kavora to activate the Great Illumination. The Great Illumination was flawed though, as only 8 of the 9 harnesses were used by the Phoenix Elders. But because of it being imperfect, the hunters were frozen in ice instead of being cured. Mount Kavora was ripped from the ground, and when mixed with the moist breath of the sky, created chi water. The other side effect was the creation of the Gorge of Eternal Depth. While Kavora was pushed up, the gorge went down. The illumination left such a power force around Mount Kavora that it now keeps it skyward with a force field surrounding it. Kavora's illumination energy brought forth the chi. The Phoenix shared it with all. The Phoenix carved the animal faces into Mount Kavora in honor of the new tribes. It's the story before the great story. Even the elders in Chima, like Lagravis and Chrominus, don't know this story, as the Phoenixes have kept themselves hidden all this time. They also reveal to our heroes that in order to fight the hunters, you have to have fire chi. Now, for the introduction to our lovely Phoenix characters. King Fluminox is the fierce and beyond wise Phoenix, the one Phoenix Elder that did not participate in the Great Illumination. But no one knows that besides a few characters. His son, Flinx, is a child, but is still thousands of years old. He has yet to forge his fire wings. There's a few other Phoenixes that aren't super major: Frax, Phyrox, and Fultrax. Tormac is a tiger, one of the only ones of his kind. He kind of becomes a confusing character. He has an adopted lion daughter, our first female lion in this entire show. And would you like to know why? To save money. I'm not kidding. In order to have a female lion, LEGO would have to make a new head mold, because obviously male and female lions look different. So if they had her in the show, they would have to make the real life mold for the actual LEGO sets, which obviously they eventually did, but anyway, her name is Liella, and yeah, no duh, this is blatantly going to be Laval's love interest. There's also Lundor. He's a leopard, only one of his kind, but he's not really a main character. Fluminox gives Eris fire chi because she is a bird, or rather skyborn, and she naturally has the spirit of the phoenix, or whatever. Laval and Krager have to prove themselves because they are groundborns, in a literal trial by fire. Eris begins having dreams of a panther and a poor, poor fate for the entirety of Chima. Laval tries to woo over his female lion so they can bow chicka wow wow. But because Laval was too distracted with that, Sir Fangar is able to capture King Lagravis, and he adds him to his collection. Laval now has to be king because, of course, Lagravis is captured. Laval, of course, wants to go rescue him, but the hunters lead an attack on the Lion Temple. More fighting. The Phoenixes have to come to the rescue. The Phoenixes that pilot the Phoenix ship thingy are 100% stoners.
It's blazing time!
Sir Fangar almost manages to kidnap Flinx, but instead he gets Liella. Next on the agenda, rescue Liella. Turns out Sir Fangar isn't freezing Liella, but instead wants her for a wife. Learning that, and seeing how she is bound up, something ain't sitting right. So it turns out their ice fortress is built on unsteady ground because of the beavers, so this makes stuff go real bonkers. The tribes launch yet again another all-out assault on the hunters, and of course, they fight back. They break into Sir Fangar's collection room, and Flinx melts all of his collection, saving Lagravis, Chrominus, Crunket, all of the Crocs, Don de la Vouche, Furtivo, the Beavers, and more. But part of his collection were Scorm and the rest of the Crawlers. Now they have to fight the Crawlers again, but that's not really much of an issue. To fully get rid of the Crawlers, Flinx heats up the place, but because of the instability, it's not safe for him to do that, and the whole mountain comes cascading. Everyone basically escapes, but Laval, Tormac, and Flinx go back in to get Liella, who's off getting ready for the marriage. Sir Fangar confronts Flinx, and since Flinx cares so much about Liella, he flips out and is about to find his spark. He exudes so much power, it blasts Sir Fangar back and almost melts the whole place to a puddle. They make it out just in time, but the whole mountain and fortress caves in. Liella is being kept atop a mountain, where they are prepping for her and Sir Fangar's wedding. Razar happens to be scouting and sees what they are planning. Sir Fangar and the hunters have to prevent another illumination, and the way they do that is to get the 8 fire wing harnesses. Turns out the harnesses are hidden, and the only map to them is on an ancient artifact, and they obviously have to get it. The artifact is located safely within the Phoenix Temple, so Sir Fangar's plan is to use Liella to get it. Sir Fangar finds Tormac searching for Liella, and he says he will trade Liella for the artifact. Tormak goes to take it, but the thing is, it literally cannot leave Phoenix territory. It will protect itself. Tormak continues to march towards Sir Fangar and the hunters, but the second he leaves Phoenix territory, the artifact explodes, blasting the hunters away and turning Tormak into the panther Eris has been seeing in her visions. Tormak escapes. I get it's, like, cool. He's black now after being burned, but, like, he's not a panther. It doesn't change your species. Probably a day or so has passed and the wedding is commencing, but luckily, before anything can really happen, the tribes attack. I know they were copying AT-ATs from Star Wars with these mammoth walkers, but they legit take them down the exact same way they do in Star Wars. They crash the wedding. Lyella says this.
I don't think I'm ready to get married or smashed just yet.
Oh, I get it. Wait, no I don't. Flinx wants to go destroy the hunters single-handedly, and Fluminox, who could have easily stopped him, doesn't. Flinx, of course, gets trapped in the Gorge of Eternal Depth. Apparently, the Phoenixes can communicate telepathically, so they know where to go. Fluminox, the Stoner Phoenix pilots, Laval, Krager, Eris, and Lyella go to rescue him. They take their very horizontally large ship down into the gorge. They almost make it out, but it was also a trap, and the hunters throw rocks on top of them, and they fall all the way back down and get trapped in the gorge. Surprise! It's been a really long time. Lavertus, or Shadowwind. We all knew he wasn't dead, but man, it's been 12 episodes. I was starting to wonder. Somehow, he's been living in the gorge. He also has a golden chi. Actually, he has lots of golden chi. Speaking of dead characters, the show has completely sidelined all of our main characters from the other tribes. They did it pretty much from the start of this season, but at this point, it's been so long since we've had any real story with Gorzan, Rogan, Wariz, Razar, and Bladvik. Although Bladvik never really had story to begin with. Anyway, who cares? While our main cast is stuck, the hunters completely freeze over Chima. They freeze over the eagle, gorilla, rhino, and bear tribes, but their legend beasts save them. Well, a little bit. Sir Fangar erects a brand new, giant fortress. Lavertus lays out all of the golden chi, one for everyone stuck down there. They utilize them all and make the golden chi shape the land, pushing all of the ice and debris out of the gorge. They make it out and get back to Mount Kavora. They see all of Chima is frozen over, except for the little bit the legend beasts are keeping warm and keeping the tribe members safe. Since they escape the gorge, Sir Fangar has to have the hunters move at 3 times speed. The mammoths move the newly built mountain fortress towards the Lion Temple and Mount Kavora. On Mount Kavora, the heroes talk about the only way to stop this is with the 8 fire harnesses, but with no artifact, there is no way to get them. Laval does his typical hope speech, and they see something out in the Outlands.
What is that?
Pretty sure that's a forest fire. Oh, it's Tormak. He seems to be in immense pain and says the heat from the artifact blazes inside of me, and I don't know what any of that means. So apparently when the map self-destructed, it burned itself into Tormak's essence. I'm not paraphrasing, that's a quote from the show. So luckily, now they have the map again. The hunters are getting pretty close to the Lion Temple. Sir Fangar proclaims his plans of building an ice tower to Mount Kavora. Now that they have the map, they go to the first place of one of the harnesses, and Tormak activates this ancient, rock security system. Its design is complex, and only a Skyborn can understand it, so Eris does. The hunters have gotten extremely close to the Lion Temple, and Lagravis calls upon all other tribes to help. At the Lion Temple, they fight the biggest fight yet. All of the tribes fight all of the hunters. The Phoenixes come down to help too. The hunters have to retreat momentarily. Surprise! There's one hunter tribe still frozen in the gorge, and both the mammoths and the vultures are like, they're too crazy and berserk. Sir Fangar doesn't care and demands they go unfreeze them. Krager and Eris make progress at the Spiral Mountain thing and find another set of fire wings. Laval is atop this land bridge, and inside the bridge is the fire wings. The vultures fly down into the gorge and revive the last tribe frozen in ice, the Ice Bears. By the way, this isn't like something I haven't been mentioning this entire video. This is brand new stuff on the penultimate episode. Don't know why they weren't talked about before. They plug them with the chi, and then suddenly, Bladvik and all of the other regular bears, known for sleeping this entire show, awaken at the same time. And our lovely character Bladvik, who they try to paint as a main character but never really does anything, is finally about to get an actual story. He goes feral and says,
Nap time's over.
The battle is still going. The ice bears in their powerful mechs arrive and they destroy everything in their path, and because of this, the hunters are able to invade the Lion Temple. The leader of the ice bears, by the way, is Icebite. Don't worry, not important. They steal all of the chi and create their giant tower of ice. The gang gets another firewing harness at the Rhino Quarry, and then they give a montage. Surprise, we found all of them off screen. They have 7. Laval and Krager go to the Forever Rock, the location of the last Firewing harness, and Eris should be there. Under the Forever Rock is the last Firewing harness. Eris learns this through another vision. She also learns in that vision that they have to get their friends from each of the 8 main tribes. Yeah, remember those guys? They've been in this season maybe what, I don't know, 3 times? Now they have all the fire wing harnesses. The hunters reach Mount Kavora and begin fighting the phoenixes. The remaining 5 characters make it to the Forever Rock. All 8 of them equip the fire wing harnesses. All they have to do is fly into the heart of Mount Kavora and collide with each other at supersonic speeds. Sounds good, right? The hunters begin freezing over the Phoenix Temple, including the Fire Chi. Sir Fangar invades the main room of the Phoenix Temple. Fluminox and Flinx are surrounded. Sir Fangar says Fluminox let his 8 brother and sister phoenixes fly into the heart of Kavora, but when it came time for him to do it, he failed and didn't jump in. Flinx did not know this. However, Fluminox's story looks just a little bit different, and the reason why he didn't jump into the heart of Kavora was to raise Flinx. Fluminox and Sir Fangar fight, which Fluminox bests him, and then Sir Fangar calls upon just about every hunter ever, and they dominate Fluminox. Meanwhile, out in the sky, the 8 main heroes are way outnumbered by the hundreds of vulture gliders. Tormak and Liella come and save the day, and Liella proclaims Laval as her boyfriend. Fluminox tells Flinx he must become the 9th Phoenix and do what he was unable to. The main 8 fly into their tribe's respective animal head, and then inside, Flinx jumps in as well, and blasts all of the hunters out. Flinx then restores all of Chima. Sir Fangar and the other hunters become cured. Tormak changes his species back to a tiger. All of the phoenixes fly into the sun. I guess their journey is complete. Everything is peaceful. Even Skinnet's skunk smell is nice now. Y'all ready for a cliffhanger? Laval is saying how peaceful stuff is, and then the camera zooms out and we learn Chima is also an island. So like, Chima is its own Mount Kavora. And now the next season. Huh? That's it? Wait, what? Are you sure? Oh, that's it. Well, that was a good ending. Kinda hoping for more though. They wrapped it up pretty quickly in the last few episodes. The reason the show ended was due to declining sales of the companion Lego sets. The Lego sets were cool, but I guess not cool enough. You have to believe me, I did not plan this, but this show ended exactly 10 years ago the day I upload this video. It ended November 22nd, 2014. Isn't that mind-blowing? You know what else was mind-blowing on November 22nd? Never mind. So there's a little bit more lore left. Bear with me. I'm getting this from the wiki because I don't exactly understand this. So we know Chima is a floating island above land. I guess all of this land, including Chima, is called the Wildness. One of the 16 realms. That's something from Ninjago, the other more successful Lego show. But that does confirm they are all in the same universe. But even more reason to believe they're in the same universe is the actual crossover they did. It's actually not really that cool. It's like 5 seconds. I'm not learning the context for this scene in Ninjago. Also, I guess one of Ninjago's villains is from the Wildness. His name is Raz, and he is a tiger. So, will Chima ever come back? No, not a chance. Lego's own themes never really perform that well besides Ninjago. Not a chance Chima comes back. The only thing I could see is a full dedicated crossover with Ninjago, and that would be cool, but other than that, no. This show was surprisingly very deep. Alright, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, otherwise I'm going to raise taxes. Also, follow me on Instagram, because I said so. Also, here's some cool fan art by some lovely people.